Hey everybody, I'm coming at you not live. I've been doing a lot of updates on No Place Like Tomorrow recently, but I needed to do an update now for book 2, which is No Hope for Yesterday, because No Hope for Yesterday is officially 80,000 words. It is 81,392 words. It's making progress. It's 35 chapters. And I'm feeling the end kind of approaching on this one. On No Place Like Tomorrow, I felt like there was such a clear cut, oh, we have to get to here, that I didn't really feel the end approaching so much as I was like, yeah, there's the end and it's gone. With No Hope for Yesterday, the way I'm writing it, the way it's processing, is No Hope for Yesterday is building you the army that you're going to need in book 3. So No Hope for Yesterday is not as action-packed as book 1. No Hope for Yesterday isn't as driven into a climax as book 1. Book 2, No Hope for Yesterday, is very much about let's build. Let's get these characters to where they need to be, because 5 years have passed between the end of book 1 and the start of book 2, and we're building these characters to where they need to be so that when book 3 hits, we can launch and we can dive into the rising action, the battle, and how this story ultimately ends. I have characters chomping at the bit to get there, but we can't get there yet. So I think what I want to do for the 80,000 word count is I want to read for you guys the scene that I'm currently working on, which is chapter 35 in book 2. Just the part I'm writing right now. I'm reading it in my head. It's playing like a movie script. So I just want to read you guys where I'm at right now in chapter 35. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let you guys hear the current moment in the book. So here we go. This is chapter 35. Now, a little bit of background on this one because you need it. Eaton and Valens and Hezekiah and Caleb are the 4 main players in this scene. And they're going back to Ilaria. We haven't seen Ilaria since book 1. I think that's all I'm going to give you guys right now, because that's all you really need. Anyway, here we go. Chapter 35. Are you all right, Provolus? Eaton takes a deep breath, staring at the entrance to Ilaria for the first time in over 5 years. He doesn't answer. Hezekiah and Caleb stand in front of Eaton and Valens. The Fey Prince has his wings on display, flared out slightly to show off the swirling constellations of color over the inky black feathers. The Reaper's blade is fastened to his left hip, and he has a backpack slung over his shoulder that contains the book the Reaper had brought to him. Hezekiah flares his magic slightly as he steps forward into Ilaria. He's greeted immediately by a voice, an arrow sinking into the earth in front of his feet. He takes a deep breath and drops his voice into the register he uses in court, announcing himself and his titles to the unseen Ilaria guard. High Prince Stormfast? A slender, red-haired woman drops from a nearby tree, falling immediately into a bough. My sincerest apologies, sire. We were not told you would be visiting us today. No need to apologize. Hezekiah waves a hand dismissively. This was not a planned visit. I seek an audience with your elders. Of course. Please. She steps aside, motioning to the trail that leads into Ilaria, which is now alight with tendrils of magic to guide the way. My entourage as well. Of course, sire. Hezekiah waves to Caleb, Eaton, and Valens, signaling for them to enter. Caleb and Valens do so immediately. Eaton hesitates. His magic spins in white and gold tendrils around his arms, pulsing with the rapidly increasing heartbeat in his throat, in his chest. He swallows the bile in his throat and steps forward. 2 things happen immediately. First, Ilaria itself seems to react to Eaton's presence, magic springing from the earth and hurtling towards the Storm Mage. Spells of green and gold spun in patterns meant to remove him from the realm, not harm him. Second, Eaton's magic blazes defiantly around him, wrapping him in a white shield that crackles with lightning. White and gold anchor the shield to the earth, holding Eaton safely within. The magic around the Storm Mage and the magic from Ilaria stand at odds, both seeming unwilling to yield to the other, until suddenly, Ilaria's stops. The red-haired woman blinks, hand outstretched, staring at Ilaria's magic as it dissipates under her command. When Eaton's shield drops, fully revealing him, she gasps. Eaton? Hello, Gwen. Eaton runs a hand through his hair, raising his gaze to meet hers. What are you doing here? Gwen demands, instinctively reaching for an arrow in the quiver on her back. You know you're not supposed to come back. He's with me, Hezekiah says, putting himself between Eaton and Gwen. He is not allowed here, Gwen replies, using the arrow to point at Eaton past Hezekiah's large frame. He returns on pain of death. Hezekiah raises a brow, taking the arrow from Gwen's hand. I'm certain you didn't just threaten a member of my entourage with death, my dear. Eaton is under my protection. Eaton is a former resident of Eladia who was banished in accordance with our laws. That has no bearing on me. Hezekiah shrugs, spinning Gwen's arrow between his fingers. It's a striking contrast, the way he stands so relaxed with that arrow in his hand, head tipped to look down at Gwen, face a schooled neutral, wearing mission grays from the OPMRB. He doesn't need a crown to look like a king, and he doesn't need to be a king for his posture to make Gwen look like a petulant child. Now, if you'd be so kind, I should like to speak to your elders. Gwen scowls up at him, snatching her arrow back from his hands and then immediately turning bright red when she realizes what she's done. She stumbles over an apology, offering a bow and heading down the trail towards the central town. Hezekiah holds back, motioning for Caleb to take the lead while he falls into step next to Eaton. Anything I should know about that the elders might bring up now that you're here? I think I'm going to go ahead and pause there because there's some things that are said after that you guys don't need to know yet. But that's what's going on so far in No Hope for Yesterday. What I love is this parallel that I've had running since book 1, and you'll have to read book 1, which is ready, by the way. If y'all haven't seen it yet, it's here. It's ready. It launches October 20th. So, you'll have to read book 1. And it has the updated map, guys. The map! Anyway, but what I've had running since book 1 is this parallel, this very intentional parallel between Eaton and Hezekiah. Hezekiah was born into royalty. He was born knowing his role, knowing what he was, who he was, what he was going to be. Eaton wasn't. Eaton was born in Eladia. He was trained as a healer. He found out he was a healer when he was a young teen. Found out he was a air mage when he was around 18, 19. And then found out he was a storm mage when he was 21. And now he's the storm mage and he's trying to save the world. But he wasn't born into that role. He had no idea that that was going to be his role. Versus Hezekiah, who always knew he was royalty. Now, he wasn't going to be the prince originally because he had an older brother, but his older brother died, and so he became high prince. But he always knew that was a possibility. Somewhere in the back of his head, he always knew if something happens to my brother, I'm the backup, and so I could be the prince. And I have this very intentional parallel between the two of them. They go through some similar things, Eaton and Hezekiah, and Eaton saves Hezekiah, and we get this lovely journey of, in book 2, Hezekiah sort of rediscovering himself, sort of rediscovering who he is, and falling back into the role of a king, but the king that he wants to be, not the king that he thought he was supposed to be. And we also, at the same time, get this sense of Eaton's journey, where Eaton has gone from, I don't want to save the world, to, well, nobody else is gonna do it, so I might as well. So, a lovely parallel, and I really hope you guys love it when you get to read it. No Place Like Tomorrow launches October 20th, so you can read at least the first part, and at least see Eaton's journey from scared running into a cave in the middle of a thunderstorm to sizing up a full-grown dragon and saying, fight me, I dare you. So, anyway, that's the update. No Hope for Yesterday is at 80,000 words. 81,000 words. So I'll probably eke out another 20,000-ish words into No Hope for Yesterday and then move on to book 3, which is No Cure for Today. So stay tuned, buy book 1, and then wait in agony for book 2, because I'm looking at winter 2025 for book 2. And that's on purpose. It's fall 2024 for book 1 because book 1 starts in the fall. It'll be winter 2025 because book 2 starts in the winter. Book 3 probably going to start in the spring or the summer. I haven't decided yet, so I'll let you know. We're looking at 2026 for book 3. Anyway, love you guys. See you later. See you next time. Let's not forget our traditional sign-off. I will see you next time, where there is still no place like tomorrow.